Hello and welcome to another lesson. Today I wanted to show you something that I've learned on guitar that I find super useful, and I hope you find it useful as well. Today we're looking at playing a simple chord progression in every position going up the fretboard of the guitar. Let me show you what I mean. So we're just going to play the chords C, F and G in open position, and then working up the way all the way up to the 12th to 14th fret here. So let's go. Something like that anyway. So what am I doing here? I'm using what some people call the caged system, right? I try not to think of it in those terms, although it is kind of a useful thing. It's a way of playing different chords, or remembering or visualizing how the chord shapes repeat as you go up the neck. So what the caged system means, if you're not familiar with this, I'll explain it briefly. We use the letters C-A-G-E-D to spell the word caged, right? And that refers to the open chord shapes that we tend to learn when we're first learning to play the guitar, right? The sort of cowboy chord shape. So that's a C chord. And we're going to go through this just in the order of the caged system, right? So it's C, A, G, E, and D. Those open chord shapes are the first shapes that we tend to learn when we're learning to play, right? And we can use the power of these shapes to navigate the fretboard. Another way of thinking about this, and maybe in a way I prefer this way, is thinking about where the roots are in each of those chords, right? So you take your C shape, your open chord C shape. What that really is, I think of it as the root on the 5th string, and you're playing to the left of the root. You're playing this way, or you're fingering the chord this side of the root. So here's your root note, and your other fingers are to the left of that. Right. After C and caged comes A. So that's referring to your open A shape. You might play it like this with 3 fingers. I like to play it with 1 finger usually. I actually find it easier to play it cleanly with 1 finger like that, maybe because my finger's a little bit bent or something, but okay. So then when we take that A shape, we then make an A bar chord with it. And now what we've got, instead of thinking of it as like the A-shaped chord, maybe you prefer to think of it as, this time we've still got the root on the 5th string. So from this shape to this shape, this note is constant, right? This note is played in exactly the same place. But now we're playing to the right of our root. The right from the player's point of view, obviously. If you're looking at me, it's my left, right? But okay. So now we've got same chord. Different voicing, right? It's a different inversion of the chord. And that's one of the powers of playing this way, is that you're accessing different inversions of the chord that sound different. And we'll see later how we can use that to have a different note on top and a different note on the bottom of the chord, and to generate different sounds. But so far we've got our C shape, a C chord but using our A shape. After that, in caged comes G, and then this is why people might not like this caged acronym, because people think, what's a G bar chord? Well, it kind of does exist and it kind of doesn't. It's not a bar chord like the E bar chord, or like the A bar chord, or even like the C bar chord. But you're taking this shape, or even this shape with the 3rd finger lifted off, right? And if you think about it, when I play this G chord, I've actually got a G major chord just on these 3 strings, right? Just on the D, G and B. That's a G major chord. That's got the 3 notes of the chord. G major triad just there. And then you've got a 3rd here, another B, and then you've got two Gs, G, the low one and the high one. So if we now take our root up to a C, if you try and play the whole chord as a G bar chord, it's crazy. It's like a thing like this. It's not very practical, not very easy to use, but you can use pieces of it. You don't have to use the whole chord, you can use bits of it. What I typically do, you'll see me a lot if you watch me play, I'll use with a third on the bottom, which a little bit, it's not the easiest voicing to use, right? But just that fraction of the G shape. You can also play it with the root on the bottom. Or you can play it just with the 3 notes across strings 2, 3 and 4. Or you can put the root on top as well. You could even have root on the top and the 5th here and just play it as like a power chord. Especially if you're playing like ska or like some types of like some punk music and things like that, you'll use that, right? That high 5th voicing. It's just root 5th, root 5th. Or 5th root, 5th root, it actually is. Okay. I use that a lot because I like to slide into the 3rd. Okay. So this time, this one, the G shape that we're looking at now, really what it is, it's root on the 6th string and playing the chord to the left. So we started on root on the 5th string, playing the chord to the left, root on the 5th string, playing the chord to the right. Now we're root on the 6th string, playing the chord to the left. And if you find that one a little bit difficult, don't worry, the next one's probably the easiest, the one that the first bar chord that you probably learned, hopefully learned. It's root on the 6th string, playing to the right, and it's with our E shape. So taking an open E chord shape that you learned, E cowboy chord, replacing the nut of the guitar with this finger to make a bar, and then taking it up so the root's on a C here, this C note on the 8th fret of your last string. This is kind of the easy one to play, or the one that you probably learned first at least. And then what's left? C-A-G-E-D, the D-shaped one. Now the D-shaped bar chord, the first thing that people think of is maybe trying to play something like this. Like if you literally try to take your D shape, do what we do for the other bar chords, play it with these 3 fingers and then put a bar down to do what the nut was doing. Of course, this is like not very practical to play. And try to take it up here so that the root's on a C. And you can kind of almost play that, but I can't get in and out of it very quickly, and it's really difficult to make it sound good. It's really difficult to make it intonate nicely and play it without bending the strings a little bit. Never mind to get in and out of it quickly. But what we can do, again, is we can play it as like a power chord. It's just like root 5th, root 5th, or 5th root, 5th root. 5th root, 5th root. So in fact, that's just G, C, G, C. It's cheating a little bit, we're not really making a major chord here. If you want to make the major chord, you can play the 3rd here. With the 3rd on top. And I do use that, I will use that voicing, especially if you're playing like funk or something that you're just using the top 3 strings, maybe top 4 strings, then that is a voicing that I will use sometimes. Maybe not on the acoustic guitar, right? But even just that voicing is quite nice, just that 5th root voicing. And then finally you come all the way back round to your C shape. Now up this far up the neck of the guitar, it's really difficult to play a full C bar chord on this guitar, but I'll show you maybe playing an F. You would play it like this, right? So it's root on the 5th string and playing to the left. This is a shape that I use a lot. If you look at my hand here, maybe it doesn't look very comfortable to play, but I depend on this shape a lot. I would even go as far as to say this is like my default F. If I see an F chord on like a chord chart or something, this is probably where I'm going, first of all. I don't always play the top note, so this top, it's an A. I might just play it across the 4 middle strings like this. And not play the top. Depending on what I'm playing, I might actually take off the root here and just play it like this. So those are the different shapes that we're using here. And then you can work out just by thinking, okay, where's my root note? Where's my anchor note, my reference in this position? You can work out how to play the chords in each position. For the moment, obviously, we're only doing minor chords, and just to make it a little more, we're only doing major chords, and just to make it a little more interesting, I'm going to put in a 7th to take us back to the root. Of course, later you can go through and work it out with minor chords as well, right? But just for the moment, we'll just do the 1, 4, and 5 chords, keep it super simple in the key of C, and we've got C, F, which is just this F, is an E-shaped bar chord. But just for comfort, I'm gonna take off the low root. I'm used to playing rhythm in bands where there's a bass player and there's a keyboard, there's other things going on. It's not essential for me to play that note. And just for comfort and, I don't know, other reasons, I prefer just to play it like this. This is my standard F chord, or this. So we'll do C, F, and then we'll play our G here, and G7. Next position looks like this: C, F. So it's like our D shape, if you like, if we think of the caged system. But it's the one that we're just playing out. A 5th is just a power chord, really. 5 root, 5 root. And it finishes with our E-shaped bar chord, right? So it's C, F, G. Just take off this one to make the 7th. If you want a high voicing of the 7th, a little extra, you can do it. Put it on here. Okay, so it's next, I like to do my little slide in on the 3rd here. And why not? Let's just slide in and use that D shape, right? So this time we've got, let's see, C, F, and G. To compensate for the fact that I'm cheating and only really playing 5th root, not playing a full chord here, I'm going to slide in. Oh, but then we wanted to use our 7th, so maybe we'll do this. Right, this 7th voicing. Okay, so here it is. That sounds nice. Next one, next shape, our next C shape is up here. So it takes us to a E-shaped C chord, if you like. So it's E-shaped C chord, an A-shaped F chord, I don't know how other people play that A bar chord. I've seen people do things like that. I think that's the way I was taught to try and play it with one finger. I can't do that, I need 2 fingers. So I'm using my 3rd finger on the 4th string. And then my pinky's actually kind of barring the other 2. And then the G is a C-shaped G chord, right? When I say C-shaped, root on the 5th string, I'm playing to the left. Often, as I said before, I'll just play on the 4 middle strings. Not play that top. That top B note isn't doing anything for me really. So let's go. And then to add in the 7th, and move everything over. That fingering change can be a little bit difficult when you're not used to it, but you'll get it. Practice it, because it's really useful to be on that chord. To add the 7th in. So we're going from, like if I shout out the fret numbers, going from the 5th string up to the 2nd string, it's 10, 9, 7, 8 for the normal G chord. And then we're getting the 7th in on the 3rd string, so it becomes 10, 9, 10, 8. And then that takes us to our last position, which is, now we're cheating a little bit and just using our C 5th with 5th root, 5th root for our C chord to get started. And then the F, and then G. I find when I get up to this area of the fretboard, especially on this acoustic guitar that has no cutaway, it starts to all get a little bit crowded, and I want to play fewer strings to play cleaner, right? So, C. I'll try that again. I find it easier to play a little bit cleaner if I'm not like trying to play full chords across 4 or 5 strings. Up to you, depends on the music you're playing, depends on what you need. And that's the beginning of learning to play in position. There's so much more to do. There's minor chords to do, and then 7ths and extended chords to learn to play in each one. But I think it's a really good start if you can play the 1, 4 and 5 chords of a progression in every position on the neck like that. So when you put it all together, it looks like this. Something like that. Okay, I hope that was useful. I hope you can take this as a starting point and then go much further with it, work out the minor chords, play it in different keys. The great thing about this is once you can do it, I'm playing C, F and G, but really I'm playing chords 1, 4 and 5 of any key. You can apply this to anything. If you have to do it in B flat, then you just have to find the B flat and play the same progression or the same shapes in whatever position is right. Great advantage of this is if you're playing rhythm, which we are most of the time, right, as guitar players, most of the time what we're doing is playing rhythm. It's just another resource to bring out different sounds. If I'm playing a song in the band and I'm just a lot of the time hanging out on 2, 4 chords maybe on a song, if you're just in the open position, just strumming a C and a G chord, especially if there's more than one guitar in the band, that gets super boring. It's boring for you, it's boring to listen to. But if you can be doing, I don't know, if it's just like C to G and C to G, now let's change keys. Let's do B flat to F and F to B flat. If you're playing a song that's just that for 90% of the song, if you can move it around and make it jump a little bit and, you know, play it in different positions, I don't know, you could play like, what can we do? If you can bring it up the neck a little bit, bring it down the neck a little bit, it just makes it more interesting. It makes the song more interesting for you, the player, and hopefully for the audience as well. Okay, that's it for today. I hope that was useful, and if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below, and I'll see if I can reply. Okay, thanks.